Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan Calixto. First and foremost, we would like to take this time and say thanks to former host Kim and Aline for all her hard work on this program. She will surely be missed. Today is Tuesday, February 11th, and you are now watching Open, a program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to you. Don't forget to stay connected with us via social media at BronxNet TV. SmileHub is a nonprofit tech company that uses data to rate charities and provides resources for donors. Their recent report focuses on the best charities for rights, activism, and the best states for social activism in 2025. Joining me now to discuss this report is Luke Powers, the business manager for SmileHub. Thank you for joining us, Luke.
Thank you for having me, Jonathan.
Yeah, so obviously I shared a little bit about SmileHub, but give us a more insight into what SmileHub is.
So, as you said, SmileHub is a nonprofit tech company that uses data to rate nearly 300,000 charities using our proprietary SmileHub rating, which distills key metrics such as revenue growth, management expenses as a share of total expenses, and fundraising productivity into easy to understand categories. Our platform provides resources that make it easy for donors to find more information and maximize the impact of their donations to causes and charities that align with their values and interests.
Yeah, when you talk about that word of impact as well, how does it also impact people's lives?
So, big question, right? Smile Hub was inspired by uh, seeing the charity model not having a significant disruption in many years. So we wanted to add simplicity and transparency to the way people donate, who they donate to. We have big aspirations to democratize charitable giving and be a destination to manage your charitable donations in one spot. And more importantly, we've done the research on all our listed charities. So you can be confident that every dollar you're donating is having the most impact for charitable causes that you choose. And we're just at the beginning of our journey and aim to continue adding features as we grow that allow people to truly maximize their donations and really help those who are helping others.
Yeah. And obviously, when we talk about impact, there's also a lot of research data. There was a recent study as well on social activism across all 50 states. Can you tell me a little bit more about what inspired that recent study?
Absolutely. So on Smile Hub, we actually have 17 different categories for charities. And we like to put out these reports to highlight those different segments to help these charities out and really highlight where grassroots efforts, civic engagement, and advocacy for this specific report are thriving and where they need more support. Given the increasing role of community driven activism in shaping policies and addressing social issues, Smile Hub aimed to provide a data driven analysis to empower activists, like including identifying which states offer the most supportive environments for advocacy, to guide donors and organizations, raise awareness, and shed light on regional disparities in activism and civic participation, and encourage engagement, inspiring individuals to get more involved in causes that matter in their communities.
Yeah, when you talk about providing as well that transparency, in a sense, for donors, what would you say are some of the metrics you use to conduct this study? I know you mentioned there's about 17.
Absolutely. So it was 15 key metrics here across three categories, which include community support and engagement, legal protection and education, and labor and household. These and the metrics in these categories include things such as rights and activism charities per capita, Google search interest for social change, different non-discrimination laws on or voter accessibility policies, and things like the share of residents living in poverty.
Yeah, obviously, so many important factors. And obviously, because we are in the Bronx, I do want to focus on New York. Now, New York did rank eighth overall in best states for social activism. Talk to me about obviously what contributed to this high ranking, you'd say.
So, New York, ranking eighth overall, had strong legal protections, ranking first in non discrimination laws for employment, housing, and education, high community support. They were first overall in rights and activism charities per capita. Public engagement, we have New York ranked first in access to public transportation, which we use as a proxy for openness to social activism. Online advocacy, New Yorkers ranked eighth overall in Google search interest for social change terms. Moderate civic participation, New York was middle of the pack ish, ranking 30th in civic and social organizations per capita and 31st in organizational membership. And then voter turnout and hate crimes, they were again ranked 34th in voter turnout and 41st in hate crime incidents per capita. So those being on the lower end of the spectrum, the other rankings really contributing and carrying them to where they are at number eight.
Yeah. And for our viewers as well, I do want to be able to break it down a little bit more. When we say New York is ranked number one in rights and activism charities per capita, what does that exactly say about our state's nonprofit landscape?
So when you're looking at that ranking and New York being first overall, what we see is that it shows that New York has a strong nonprofit sector focused on rights and activism, at least in part, which indicates high civic engagement and community support. The abundance of these organizations suggests a well established infrastructure for advocacy and social change, and a culture that prioritizes activism, providing resources for individuals and groups to mobilize. And all this coming together, the state's dense population and things like access to public transportation likely contribute to this thriving nonprofit landscape for rights and activism charities.
Yeah. Now, of course, with ranking number one in that category, New York also ranked number 18 in voter accessibility policies and civic education engagement. With your expertise, Luke, how can we improve that ranking?
So, New York could improve with its voter accessibility policies by expanding early voting locations, simplifying absentee ballot processes, and improving voter registration outreach, and an increasing civic and education engagement that may involve integrating more robust civics courses in schools, funding community programs that promote civic participation, and making voting resources more accessible, especially for young and marginalized communities.
Now, when we do look at the study across all 50 states, any surprising findings on your end, Luke?
So, I will note this is the first year that we've done this study, so I can't necessarily compare trends, but I could point out one surprising thing to me was that Colorado ranked fifth overall, and their surrounding states were mostly middle of the pack. But the other thing's not so surprising. You got a lot of the Northeast and a lot of the West Coast in the top states, along with a handful of the Midwestern states.
And for our states, of course, that are maybe in the lower ranking when it comes to certain categories, what would you say they could start doing to improve those ratings?
So I can give you something like the lowest ranked states. We have Mississippi, Alabama, and Arkansas at 50, 49, 48. And they have things like high poverty rates and weak legal protections, low community engagement, low voter turnout, and fewer activism charities. So they could focus on increasing those legal protections for marginalized groups, working on increasing voter participation and community engagement. And that may involve more people stepping out there and starting these charitable organizations and really just protecting the rights that people have to uh, protest, expanded civic education. There's a lot of different little improvements that can be made in this world to help these states.
Yeah, I think with what you're mentioning too about so many different initiatives that can support in making a state's ranking increase, I know that grassroots organizations play a significant role as well. What would you say, how important are they to a social activism score for some states?
So if we were to look at these civic and social organizations, I think having more of them is likely to increase the number of people who are interested in civic participation, right? Interested in going out to vote or helping these other rights and activism charities. So I would say they're important in just getting the community together and really driving everyone around them to participate more in in ac- activist events.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, obviously, you've given us so much resource, a lot of data as well. But for our viewers watching, if they want to be able to get involved and support, obviously, some of their states' rankings, even sharing some of the initiatives they have, what can they start doing at a local level, maybe?
I mean, at a local level, if you'd like to support Smile Hub, you can always go to smilehub.org and find charities on there in your area that that can that are really doing good work and help them out. And you can help us out by going to smilehub.org and going to our blog page there, finding these reports and sharing them online to help drive interest and bring people to us so that we can help you find charities that you can help.
Incredible. I mean, I thank you so much, Luke, for even being able to share that insight, how people can help. Before we do wrap up, I mean, real quick, what policy changes could improve social activism, you'd say as well? Is there any policies that can impact this?
I I would say that that might not necessarily be my realm of expertise here, uh, but just trying to protect voter rights, trying to protect the rights of people to protest and ensure those activities are not met with excessive legal or police action would be a couple
Great.
ways that things could improve.
Yeah, well, thank you so much again, Luke. I think you've left us with so much information as well that we can take back, look into Smile Hub. So thank you again, Luke.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. For our viewers, to learn more about this report, please go to their website at smilehub.org. Don't go away. We'll be back with more open after this.